So this is the start of part 2 and everything because I took a break and all that stuff. So anyway, on to number 4. Phantom Menace and Attack of the Clones. I personally don't think that Phantom Menace and Attack of the Clones are as bad as everyone says they are. In fact, let's talk about Phantom Menace. I think Phantom Menace does a good job expanding on the plot and everything. I really did like how, should I say, they expanded on the Star Wars lore and everything. Qui-Gon by himself is a pretty good character and everything. And of course, should I say, Obi-Wan is a great, should I say, apprentice to him and whatnot. And I thought that Jake Lloyd wasn't too bad as, should I say, young Anakin Skywalker, and I found him adorable and everything. And you kind of feel really bad for this, that this young kid grew up to become the evil Darth Vader and whatnot. And of course, should I say, I think Padme Amidala is a great character and whatnot. Padme is shown to be a capable badass and whatnot, unlike She Who Shall Not Be Named. And of course, should I say, I didn't find Jar Jar Binks an irritating comic relief as most people point him out to be and whatnot. And of course, should I say, the fight scenes are amazing for what they are, and Darth Sidious and Darth Maul are pretty good villains, especially the latter. Now let's talk about Attack of the Clones. I think Attack of the Clones is a pretty solid movie for what it is. Yes, I declare it the weakest of the prequel trilogy and everything. But of course, regardless, I found the romance between Anakin and Padme to actually be great and everything. I don't understand why those idiots said the romance was pretty bad between the two. I'm looking at the idiots at WatchMojo.com. Yeah, go fuck yourselves, WatchMojo. And of course, should I say, Count Dooku, Christopher Lee as Count Dooku is also a highlight of this film. He is both cunning yet calm and sinister and whatnot. I also did like Jango Fett, who was a pretty great character, so popular in fact that he got his own video game. In fact, I'm just gonna say this unpopular opinion that Jango Fett is far much better than, should I say, his son Boba Fett and whatnot. And of course, should I say, that arena battle is pretty fan-freaking-tastic. It kind of reminds me of those old 1930s pulp adventure movies and everything. And seeing the Jedi fight together and whatnot is, should I say, a treat. And so those are my thoughts on, should I say, Phantom Menace and Attack of the Clones. Anyway, let's get on to number 3. King Kong 1976. Yeah, I don't think this is as bad as many people say it is and whatnot. I think King Kong 1976 is actually pretty good and everything. I really did like how they took new risks and all that stuff with the King Kong IP. I think that Jeff Bridges actually gives a good performance in his role, in his respective role and whatnot. Yeah, I know the final battle on top of the Twin Towers of the World Trade Center has not stood the test of the time because of a certain tragedy, but I think it was actually something different to see that it's not taking place in the Empire State Building and somewhere else. I also did like how, should I say, Kong was portrayed in this film. Not as, should I say, a vicious monster who would only attack when he was either angered or threatened and everything. And the action set piece as well, at least for 70s standards, are pretty great for whatnot. And I did like John Barry's score and everything. John Gillerman's direction is actually fan-freaking-tastic. After all, this was shortly after he directed The Towering Inferno. And of course, should I say, it kind of feels like both a creature feature movie, a 1930s creature feature movie meets a 70s disaster movie and all that stuff. So yeah, that is King Kong 1976 for you, a pretty underrated remake that doesn't deserve all the hate it's gotten. So anyway, let's get on to number 2. Godzilla 1998. Yeah, if you want to know more of my thoughts on Godzilla 1998, go watch my review of that film. So I'm gonna say this with a straight face. Yes, I have always enjoyed this film, and I don't think it's as bad as many people say it is. The film's biggest issue is that it was marketed and labeled as a Godzilla movie, but when watching it, I don't think it's as bad as many people say it is. I actually did like Matthew Broderick's Nick Tatopoulos. I think he was a pretty great character by himself and whatnot, and pretty likable. I also did like Jean Reno's Philippe Roche, who was pretty badass, mysterious, and whatnot. I also did like Hank Azaria's performance as Animal Pallotti, who was a pretty funny comic relief. And on top of that, I also thought that Kevin Dunn as Colonel Hicks was, should I say, another treat as well. I also do dig the special effects and cinematography in this film. Well, yeah, the movie mostly relied on practical effects while keeping CGI to a minimum. And also, let me address the biggest elephant in the room. I don't think this is a bad Godzilla design by itself, and Zilla himself doesn't really stick out like a sore thumb because, you know, there have been many different iterations of the character and whatnot, so he doesn't stick out like a sore thumb anymore. And of course, should I say, I didn't think the Ebert parody was that bad and whatnot, because come on guys, spoofing Ebert at this point in time wasn't anything new. It was the norm back in the day. Yeah, so anyway, that is Godzilla 1998 for you. And I think that this movie is kind of like a cross between The Beast from 20,000 Fathoms with elements of the first two Jurassic Park movies. Now, before we get to number one, here are a few quick honorable mentions. With that out of the way, let's get on to number one, Predator 2. Predator 2 is a damn solid sequel that does everything that a sequel could. If you want to know more of my thoughts on that movie, check out my review of Predator 2. I think that this sequel is everything a sequel does right. Raise the stakes, up the ante, and expand on the lore. I think Danny Glover as Lieutenant Mike Harrigan is a freaking badass. It was nice to, should I say, see Bill Paxton's, should I say, Jerry Lambert, as he was a funny and hilarious comic relief character. Then we also had Gary Busey's Peter Keyes, who was pretty much, should I say, the honorable villain type and whatnot, even though he wasn't exactly a villain and whatnot.
With the best intentions. Some of the worst things imaginable have been done with the best intentions.
I think that the action set pieces are solid and epic. This is why I think that this Predator movie succeeds where the later sequels failed and whatnot. It's definitely much better than that bloody overrated Prey and everything. And I did dig Alan Silvestri's score and the LA setting, because I really do love how much of a gritty city LA is. So anyway, those were my top 10 films I enjoyed that everyone else hates. What did you guys think of this film? Let me know in the comment section down below, and thanks for watching as always. Don't forget to subscribe if you want to see more. Shadow Leon 659 signing out. Goodbye and take care.